It was a busy year for Philippine boxing. There were many reasons to celebrate the success of the victors, while most of those who suffered defeats will surely get another chance in the future. Pac is back. The biggest headline for Philippine boxing this year was by far the return of Manny Pacquiao. He not only won another world title, but also ended his long knockout drought by retiring Lucas Matthysse of Argentina. On paper, it was a great matchup for Pacquiao as the champion was not known for his movement nor his defense, two things that made things difficult for Pacquiao in his past fights. Instead, Matthysse was a slugger who liked staying in the pocket and engaging. Too bad for him, Pacquiao was the much quicker guy both in hand and foot speed. Pacquiao boxed aggressively as he knew he needed a big win to convince fans both here and abroad that he still has some fight left in him even as he was already pushing 40 years of age. In the end, Pacquiao got the stoppage win that he needed, and although the event might not have been a runaway financial success for Pacquiao the promoter, it was a much-needed boost for Pacquiao the fighter. Not long after, talk about a rematch against Floyd Mayweather surfaced, but instead the Filipino legend will settle for Money's protege in Adrian Broner. 4 Kings. After Pacquiao, there are other Filipino fighters who managed to retain or win world titles in 2018. IBF flyweight champion Jerwin Ancajas had a very busy year with 3 title defenses. After wowing boxing fans with a 10th round stoppage in his first title defense against Israel Gonzalez, Ancajas did not gain a lot of new fans with his next 2 fights. He had an awkward encounter with compatriot Jonas Sultan for a wide unanimous decision victory, and then escaped with the title around his waist with a lackluster effort against Alejandro Santiago Barrios after managing to pull off a draw. The year 2019 is make or break for Ancajas. If he'll become a true star in international boxing, he'll need a big performance. It's okay for him to win via decision, but he'll have to do that against big-name opponents. A title unification fight should be his immediate priority as he'll need to grab the boxing world's attention after losing it with his last 2 fights. Nonito Donaire fought only once in 2017, so it was a bit lucky for him to have a couple of world title opportunities in 2018. While his best years might already be behind him, the Filipino Flash can still draw some interest. His first shot at the title was at the featherweight division for Carl Frampton's WBO belt. However, the title opportunity ended badly with a unanimous decision loss. However, Donaire's gallant stand against Frampton was rewarded with another title shot 2 divisions south of feather at 118 against undefeated WBA champion Ryan Burnett. It was a good fight between 2 willing competitors, but unfortunately for the defending champion, he sustained an injury that forced him to leave the ring and his belt behind. Apart from Donaire, Lady Luck also smiled upon Vic Saluter in 2018. Before getting a shot at Raya Yamanaka's WBO minimum weight title, Saluter's last meaningful fight came way back in 2015, where he lost to Kasei Tanaka for the same title. After that, he scored 6 wins against local opposition, defeating Mike Kinnaman and Lito Dante twice, and even lost to lightly regarded Toto Landiro. Getting a title shot must have been a big surprise for Saluter, but he took advantage of the opportunity as they had the best performance of his career to win via unanimous decision and become the 3rd Filipino to hold this title after Donnie Nietzsche and Merlito Sabillo. Hours before the year ended, the aforementioned Nietzsche capped it off with a split decision victory against Kazuto Ioka of Japan via the scores of 118-110, 116-112, and 112-116. With the big win, Nietzsche joined an elite list of fighters who won titles in 4 different divisions. He is the 3rd Filipino fighter to do so after Pacquiao and Nietzsche. In total, 2018 ended with 5 Filipino world champions and 2 interim title holders in Reimert Caballo and Jack Tapora. Missed opportunities. After almost a century, 2018 finally featured a world championship matchup between 2 Filipino fighters with Ancajas taking on Sultan. The next one did not even take 100 days as Nietzsche faced off against Aston Palict for the vacant WBO Super Flyweight Championship. The best-case scenario for Philippine boxing is if these 2 fights turned out to be instant classics. Instead, it was more of an explanation on why all Filipino title fights don't happen a lot. These could have been out versions of the Mexican Wars between Marco Antonio Barrera and Eric Morales or Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez, but failed to do so. Instead, Ancajas vs Sultan turned out to be a matchup between a challenger that was just looking for one knockout punch and a champion who was not willing to take a lot of risks and instead keep his title by staying outside and scoring. The Matthysse-Pacquiao fight, although it was more entertaining than the first one, was also a highly tactical affair. It was a fight that many thought belonged to the veteran Matthysse, but he settled a decision. This result could not have gotten any worse for Philippine boxing, as the title that was believed to be surely coming home to the country ended up remaining vacant. It might take a while before two Filipino boxers square up again with a world title up for grabs. It seems like our local pugs prefer fighting international opposition on the big stage. Coming up short. There were two Filipino fighters who got their first shots at a world title in 2018 in Manny Pacquiao and Mark Barriga. Pacquiao had a great opportunity, as challenging for a title in the Philippines is a rare occurrence. He matched up against a power puncher in Felix Alvarado, but the Filipino came into the fight with the wrong game plan. Instead of using his superior boxing skills, Pacquiao slugged it out against his foe, and, as he is not used to throwing and receiving heavy leather early in the fight, he lost steam in the middle rounds and was dropped repeatedly for a seventh-round technical knockout loss. Barriga, a former Olympian, went up against Carlos Licona a few months after for the IBF minimum weight title. It was a prototypical battle between two 105-pounders, as it featured a lot of speed and little power. In the end, even if Barriga closed the fight strongly, the judges gave Licona a split decision victory, dealing the Filipino the first loss of his career. Another Filipino fighter came up short at his world title attempt when Brian Valoria fought Artem Dalakian for the vacant WBO featherweight title. The undefeated fighter from Ukraine showed his hunger in the match, as Valoria also showed his age, being 7 years the senior. In the end, the Hawaiian punch dropped a wide and clear unanimous decision. Other unsuccessful title attempts from Filipino fighter include Mercedo Gesta losing to Jorge Linares, WBA lightweight, Ernesto Solong losing to Raya Sukatwasa, IBF super bantamweight, Toto Landiero losing to knockout CP Freshmert, WBA minimum weight, Vince Pars losing to Hiroto Kayaguchi, IBF minimum weight. Next up. A young fighter who took a significant step forward in 2018 was Jack Tapora. He only fought once in the year, but he made sure there were a lot of people paying attention and that he would get them the result they want. Tapora was included on the undercard of the Pacquiao-Matthysse match in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He stopped at Evaldo Ortega in the 9th round to win the interim WBA featherweight title. Although he has a nice belt around his weight, Tapora could not yet be called a full-fledged world champion unless he defeats WBA Super World Champion Leo Santa Cruz or their regular world champion Jesus Rojas. Another fighter that burst into the scene in 2018 was Michael Dasmariñas. He won the vacant IBO bantamweight title with a massive knockout victory against Kareem Garfi in Singapore. However, he was not able to add to his momentum as he looked out of sorts against Ghanaian fighter Manyo Plange with a stalemate. Boxing fans in the Philippines are also taking a closer look at Reimert Caballo, who defeated Stepan Young via unanimous decision in only his second fight in the United States to win the interim WBA bantamweight title. He was deadlier in his second fight of 2018 as he knocked out Tanzania's Julius Kisera in just one round. Second-generation fighters Carlo and Dave Penalosa also went undefeated in 2018, going for a combined 5-0, all knockouts, but they'll have to take a serious step up in opposition in 2019 to inch closer to possible world title opportunities. Marlon Tapales ended his 1.5-year hiatus in 2018 with a one-round knockout victory against the overmatched Goodluck Mrima of Tanzania. Another young fighter who is making a name for himself is Edward Hino. After scoring his first win abroad in 2017 against Sida Jito of Japan to win the OPBF light flyweight title, Hino followed up with a huge win over former world champion Merlito Sabillo before closing out the year with another defense of his title against Jesse Espinas. Lightweight Romero Duno had a busy 2018 with 3 fights all in the United States. He opened the year with a bang, knocking out Yardley Armenta Cruz in just one round before following up with decision wins against Gilberto Gonzalez and Ezequiel Avelas, prompting Oscar de la Hoya of Golden Boy Promotions to say he's nearing a title opportunity. Another big win for Philippine boxing is that more and more events are airing on national televisions, which will only help in promoting the sport and setting the table for more future world champions. The year of 2019 should be an even busier year for Philippine boxing, and it'll hit the ground running with Pacquiao leading the charge. Look out for more title opportunities for Filipino boxers in the second half of the upcoming year.